Okay, guys, I'm sorry about last week. I was not able to get on here and do podcast number 5 by Ontario's Most Haunted, but here it is for this week. Give me 1 second while I'm getting it all set up. Part 5. Well,
Episode 5 of Ontario's Most Haunted Podcast. Made it through another week. Congrats, people. My name is Brandon, and it is 2021. Yes, COVID's still around. Break out your Purell. Speaking of infectious diseases, here's Ashley Spurrell.
What the hell? Really,
How do
dude?
you like that?
Oh, you're gonna get a whack in the head. I swear to God, as soon as this fucking lockdown and restrictions are over, you're getting whacked.
I thought that was pretty good. No?
I mean, it rhymes my last name, kind of.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Ish. Yeah, you're a little under the weather today. You ended up catching a bit of a cold.
Yeah, sitting in front of an open window with wet hair, going outside with wet hair is not fun. I don't recommend that in the winter.
No, I don't. I definitely don't recommend. Although sleeping with the window open is nice, though. But I guess that doesn't even help either, eh?
No, because I try not to have wet hair when I go to sleep for that reason, because I do sleep with my windows open. So I do my best not to go to bed with wet hair. But sometimes you kind of can't control that. If you want to have like if you're not feeling well and you go for like a midnight shower. Like, there's no way to really control that unless you're like, I'm going to close my window, but I'm not that smart.
Oh, you said it, not me. Yeah, well, hey, is it bad that I agree? It would be worse if I called you out for doing that. It's less
This
worse.
is true. This is very
less
true.
worse if I agreed with you.
This is very true, yes.
So, I guess the key to guys, the key to women is don't tell them the truth. Don't tell them the truth until they say it first, and then you agree with them, and you won't get hurt. Is that how it works?
You'll still get hurt. Don't take Brandon's
Not as bad.
No, don't take Brandon's advice. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Wow. Well, if I ever had a podcast for Babes with Brandon, I guess it would have been shut down already because I guess I don't know anything about women.
It's Brandon's Babes, okay?
No, when I said
I swear to God, I'm gonna like
Brandon.
Well, whatever it was, I'm gonna trademark it.
Babes with Brandon, you're gonna trademark that?
I want to trademark that now.
Oh, that'll be the shortest lived pod.
I'll give you all the rights to it. But dude, can we get that trademark?
It'll be the shortest lived podcast out there.
Oh yeah.
It will last 2 episodes and it will be done.
20-minute episodes.
Thanks. Well, this podcast is definitely not going to be 20 minutes long because I guess it seems like with a theme with interviews, we get very long episodes with when we ended up having guests on. We ended up realizing that with Brian, and due to the time differences and the different time zones each of us are in, it was hard to try and get a good time to interview this guy, I guess you can end up saying. So we ended up having to pre-record this interview. But as we said last week, it is with Chris Edgecombe of Parachills, and it was a very fun interview to do. We ended up learning a little bit about how Parachills started and everything. So it was a fun interview. I think we should break into it right now. Let's not waste any time. What do you think?
Yeah, no, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, all right, let's do that. Here we go. The interview with Chris Edgecombe, the founder of Parachills.
All right, so as we said earlier, we ended up having a very special guest with us on the podcast for this week's episode. He is the founder and creator of the Parachills organization that myself and Ashley are so humbly a part of. Chris Edgecombe. Chris, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. I know you've been super busy lately with a whole bunch of stuff involving your website and getting other divisions sorted out for the organization. So I just want to end up saying thanks for taking the time out to do this, man. It's appreciated.
Great to be here.
So there are some things about Parachills that me and Ashley don't really know about. So right off the bat, I'm absolutely curious. Where did you get this idea for Parachills from, and how long ago? How did it start?
Well, the original idea was not for it to be as it is now. The original idea was just to have the YouTube channel and use it as like an entertainment platform. But then when I got in touch with some of the old investigators I used to run with, we sort of got back together, we got talking, and we said, hey, let's go out and investigate again. Let's get it on film, put it on the channel. But obviously, as you know, the pandemic kind of put a stop to that. So we ended up creating a few different things for the channel. But then it dawned on me that investigation is so limited, to what you can do, what you can offer. And just one night, it just suddenly clicked that I've got this entire platform in front of me. Why not utilize it and turn it into something which has never been done before? So that's when I came up with the idea of going global. What better way to investigate than in different countries around the world, having teams in different countries working together on the weird and wonderful cases that paranormal investigators deal with. And that's how it really came about, So Parachills was officially born in April 2020, and the investigative side came about just a few weeks after.
Wow. So this was like a rapid process. Obviously, you ended up having the means to create something along the lines of Parachills for a long time, but this is literally erected very recently. How shocked were you to see the response you ended up getting when it came to deciding, hey, I'm going to go global with this?
It was very quick. I don't think I expected for any of this to grow as quick as it did. I was expecting quite a slow transition, but that didn't occur. And it sort of blew up in the first week. And that's when I knew that I had something here. But at the same time, I had to start putting in 7 days a week. I had to start doing 14, 15, 16 hours a day to, piece together the Parachills as it is. And even now, we're still growing at a very rapid rate. And, it shocked me almost to the core when this blew up. and I kind of thought, now we can help so many people across the world. It doesn't matter where they are. We now have the means to investigate not just the paranormal, but we can take on the other investigative sides, such as the private investigations. We can do the missing persons investigations, the cold cases. So we kind of went beyond paranormal and into the other avenues, which created this huge circle. And it just came out of the blue, and I just had no choice but to roll with it.
So you brought up something really interesting. Obviously, when you started, your main focus was on the paranormal. You wanted to mainly focus on, the ghost spirits, UFOs and whatnot. And then you ended up saying, well, now that we have this expansion, you're going into the cold case files, you're going into missing persons, this kind of stuff. So what inspired you? What made you want to branch out into that other section of investigating?
So missing persons, I guess the answer is quite simple there. There is not enough help out there. There isn't. The authorities are very limited what they can do. I know there's charities out there which do all they can, but there's not really any organization which can not only help with appeals and, trying to gather information, but there's not really any organization out there which would actually physically investigate missing person cases and, giving that family some hope, and that's why I wanted to do that side of it, because every day, every minute, someone goes missing and a family is broken. And I wanted to bring this on board as a new way of helping those families and trying to give them some hope, give them the proper help that we can do with the appeals and things like that, and obviously the initial investigation. So, with each missing person case, they're assigned at least 2 investigators to a missing person case. So, we are pretty much, going full out with that. As for the cold cases, you see it all the time on TV or on streaming services that, cold cases which have been left for decades, because at the time there was no evidence. And I guess the reason why I wanted to do that was so that we could provide a fresh approach to how we would look at a cold case. And I think so far, especially with the ones we have now, I think we have provided a really good, fresh approach to those. And, we've discovered new information. We've discovered different channels and, gone down the road of theories and even testing those out. So I feel that I feel again that for families that have been, affected by a cold case, this again is some form of hope for them. And, we can only do the best we can do. But the one thing we don't do is give up on anyone. So no matter how long it takes, we will continue to investigate. Yes, we know we're going to hit dead ends. We know we're going to get leads which don't actually go anywhere. We are aware of, of the sort of speed humps ahead, but we're prepared for that. We have the best team in the world. We have got such a high level of expertise. And, you know, with these other organizations out there, they can only provide so much, whereas we go way beyond that, and we give back something to society, you know, and we're doing all this voluntarily at the moment, because it's no secret we don't get government funding. So we put a lot of time, you know, there's so many hours going into each case, and I feel, you know, the families associated with these, you know, that they understand that we are there for them, and, you know, we don't give up.
And, you know, it's interesting because, you know, a word you ended up using there, it's a voluntary, which means, in my opinion, we're doing this because we want to help. It is our love and our passion. But I think the most special thing about what this is we are just ordinary people when you come down to it. We're not, you know, we're not super educated in certain areas and whatnot. But the thing is, we all end up coming on board initially as paranormal investigators. But when you're using the word investigators, we have the correlations of the tools we can use to investigate the paranormal, as well as different other avenues, and do it just as effectively. And like you said, not stop until we've reached some kind of conclusion. And I think that's the real special part about what you're trying to end up providing here with this added branch to the organization.
Yeah.
So with that said, knowing that we all end up coming from paranormal backgrounds, and that's what ended up inspiring you to try and get this kind of a YouTube outreach, and then this Paratrails organization reaching out. Obviously, you had a fascination with the paranormal before going into this. So my question is, what ended up getting your fascination with the paranormal rolling? What was the experience that made you think there's something here, but I want to know more about it?
Sleep paralysis is the simple answer to that. That's what got me into it. I suffered a lot as a child with sleep paralysis, and most of the time I would be awake, and I would see something. I would try screaming and nothing would come out. You can't move. It is such a threatening experience. And obviously at the time I didn't understand what was going on, but growing up, I kind of learned what sleep paralysis is associated with. And you know, I think that's kind of how I got started. And then there was an incident in my late teens where we encountered something rather strange. It was about 8 p.m. And we were just, you know, roaming the streets as teenagers did back then. And we were walking past this brightly lit building, and we looked at the wall of this building and we just saw this shadow walking the opposite way. Now that was, you know, really strange because there was no one else about apart from us, except we were walking in the opposite direction. So whatever that was, it was not human form. The shape was human, but there was no physical human about. And then obviously in later years, the term shadow person came about. And I guess over the years, that is what I've actually put it down to, is that is what we saw, a shadow person.
Sure.
Wow.
So at that time, were you a skeptic? Were you did you have like a small?
Did you believe?
Yeah, did you believe? Did you have any kind of inkling?
I think in my teens I was very much a skeptic. Even after that incident, I still wasn't quite convinced.
Mhm.
So we kind of formed a little, ghost hunting gang back then. And we'd, go to all the known haunting locations. Most of the time we found nothing.
Yeah.
But that was until we went to a place called the Abbey Gatehouse, which was well known to have a resident spirit there. And we decided to go up late one night. And sure enough, on top of this gatehouse appeared a woman. And it scared the hell out of us. We ran for our lives.
You were the wimpiest ghost investigators ever at that point.
Yeah, at that point, we were scared of our own shadow. I think we so wanted to encounter something, and when we actually did, it
You
was
shit
like,
your pants.
oh crap, we gotta get out of here. We can't be dealing with it.
Right.
We were only like 15 at the time, but we even found out who it was as well, and it was so, and the following days after that, often we'd have to walk past this place to get somewhere. So
Right.
it was always kind of nervous going back past it.
Yeah.
But I guess as we got older, I'd say the skeptical side had completely gone, and I became a believer. I do believe that there is a paranormal realm, and I do believe that it is connected to our reality. So yeah, I started off as a wimpy little teenager to a full-on investigator. So it's quite mad how it works.
So I got a real quick question, because as soon as you end up saying you're forming a team, I have to end up asking, did you end up coming up with a name for yourselves?
Ooh.
Yeah, we did.
What was it?
We actually called ourselves the Ghost Bastards.
Ghost Bastards. That is brilliant.
So,
I love it.
like Ghostbusters, but Ghost Bastards.
I love it.
Mainly because we were like the outcasts, we were the different ones, and we kind of, went out there. I mean, we were the type that would, climb cliffs without any form of harness or anything like that.
Okay, well that's just not smart.
It's not smart because one day there was two of us, and we actually got stuck in a bog, and we had to be rescued.
Oh my god!
From the fire department.
Did they get a good
They
laughing at least?
Well, we lost our shoes, but yeah, we laughed at it. But the funny thing was, we went back the next week to do it again. But this time we didn't exactly get stuck, but near the top of the cliff was like this. They used to have like a wire mesh fence which blocked it off, but it had come down, so a lot of people were using it as a ladder to get to the top. And we all managed to get up there, bar one, and he got halfway up, and the fence slipped, and it was like panic stations. And so we had to go all the way back round, climb all the way back up, whilst this guy's hanging on for dear life.
Oh my god!
And then carry him back down. So we never learned our lesson there.
Yeah, no, I can tell.
No, That's actually really, really hilarious. But at the same time, it kind of ended up strengthening your ballsiness, I guess. And in that sense, I guess it's kind of aided you into being able to go into these places now, knowing, hey, I've done stupid shit before, but you know what? It was the thrill, it was the excitement, but it was the bravery of going in to do it. And I'm guessing it's helped you a little bit down the line now to get you to where we're at right now. So
yeah, I mean, the gang back then, we were all people that suffered bullying in school and things like that, and we came together and we stood up to that level of bullying, to a point where we actually put a stop to it. No one would bother us again.
Right.
Oh, good for you.
And I've always been a big believer since then. Bullying is wrong. It shouldn't be done because it can drive people over the edge, and they end up unfortunately taking their own lives.
Right.
So we wanted to be the gang that came through it together. And yes, okay, we still done stupid crap, like teenagers do, out late drinking on the beach, or in a graveyard because it was cool back then.
Right.
Because the internet was only just taking off. We didn't have mobile phones, so I'd say at that time it was the best time. It was the best years, because we weren't glued to any technology. I think the only technology that sort of came about then was the PlayStation 1.
Classic.
And, we just spent a lot of time outside.
Mm-hmm.
We done so many different things together. We started up a soccer team. We were absolutely awful. I think we only ever won one trophy. Apart from that, we were absolutely awful. But it was a great laugh, and we met some great people along the way. Obviously, it's no secret that I went into the wrestling side of things as well, and it was absolutely nothing like that is today, So yeah, we did kind of experiment with different things, but all the time we were, since our paranormal encounter, we were always looking for the next haunted place,
right. I just wanted to say, I actually found it very interesting that you being from the UK, I appreciate you calling it soccer and not football. So,
yeah.
So
I didn't even catch on to that.
Yeah, no, well,
yeah, over here we call it football. Everywhere else they call it soccer. So I thought rather than save a bit of confusion there.
I love how Ashley's the one who ended up saying, I didn't catch on to that. Yet last week's podcast, she was berating me about how I was speaking and saying things. So
that's because it's you, Brandon.
Okay, so you're being nice to the guest.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna do something. Chris, was that trophy that you guys won for participation? Or did you actually place?
No, it was we was in a tournament, and we surprisingly managed to get to the finals.
Oh wow.
Even more surprising, we won the finals of
So you weren't as bad as what you thought.
We were. It's just we were up against shit teams.
Oh, okay.
So, they sort of put the worst of the worst.
You were the best of the shit teams.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, we had a laugh. It was. I think at that time, yes, drugs were at a high, the pills. And we just weren't into that.
Sure.
I think the only thing we ever did was those what you'd call poppers, where you sniff it and you sort of get high for about 3 seconds. I think that's about as far as we ever went.
What was this? A popper?
A popper, yeah, and it came in a little bottle, and it had some form of disgusting liquid in there. It smelled absolutely horrid. And what you had to do was cover one half of your nose and then sniff with the other, and it would give you like a 3 to 5 second high. I say high, it wasn't really a high. You were just really, really dizzy. But we just found it hilarious. It was a legal thing back then, you know. Almost every shop was selling it. It was almost as big as Pogs, you know. As a child. Yeah. Pogs was the in thing. Even Conkers.
Conker's back for a day.
Yeah, except as we got older, the Conker game sort of changed then. You were hitting people on the head with it, so trying to break it, but...
I have no idea what this Conker thing is, so...
It's a video game.
Oh, it's a video game? Okay.
It's a video game.
Alright. Well, I was obviously deprived as a child.
This, like, a liquid popper thing is, because the only popper I know of is when you mix tobacco with weed.
Where is this podcast? Where is this podcast going?
I mean, over here, that's...
So there's something else out there that's called a popper. I want to know what it is.
It's so hard to describe. The liquid was absolutely disgusting. It smelled awful.
Was it like a glue?
Bad. No, it wasn't a glue. It was a really thin liquid. You could say it was like an aniseed type liquid, you know, that kind of smell. It was vile. But it was a legal high. And I'm pretty sure you can still buy them on the internet now. You know, it's not illegal. But it was just, you know, if we were on the school bus, things like that, you know, we'd be doing poppers on the way to school. You know, it was just funny back then.
I'm going to have to ask my cousin what this is. She lives over there. She'll know.
Yeah. It's... As I say, we didn't have mobile phones back then, so we wasn't glued to technology, so we had to find our own entertainment, basically.
And sniffing this vile liquid was how you got it.
Yeah, sniffing the vile liquid, you know, which to us anything could have been in there.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
We wouldn't have known. We wouldn't have even cared back then, to be honest.
Wow. So before this paranormal podcast turns into a paraphernalia podcast, you said that your buddies didn't go out to search for the most haunted place. You didn't go out to search for the scariest stories and try to experience it. But I know of one terrifying incident that you did end up coming across as what I think is probably one of the scariest investigations you have ever done. And you tell everybody, do not affiliate yourself with said investigation or said contact or whatnot. Would you mind sharing the story you ended up having that went along with that warning?
Yeah, I mean, I was in my early 20s then, so I was a little bit more grown up, not too much though. But we were still a team up over here, and we were tasked with researching Aleister Crowley, who you know is a infamous occultist. He claimed that he contacted the devil himself, and we were handed a recording of this of him supposedly summoning the devil. Now, it was a copy, so we had it in CD form. So we put it in the stereo system, and we probably listened to about 10 minutes of it. but it was starting to freak us out. So we stopped it, we took it out, put it back in its case. Literally a few moments after that, it came on again through the sound system. And we was like, how is that possible? The CD's in its case. That's just not possible. And all of a sudden, we just had this feeling of, I suppose, dread just come over us. And then things were starting to be thrown everywhere. It was like we were going through some form of earthquake. You know, there was objects flying everywhere, and we just ran. We ran out of that place. And even when we were out there, we felt like we were being followed. It just wasn't a nice feeling at all.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was about a week or so after we went to, you know, go back to the house to try and, you know, research a bit more and see if we could capture anything on video camera. And I'd say 20 minutes into it, and the investigator that I was with started turning blue. And I was panicking, like, what's going on, you know? And, you know, he was struggling to breathe. It was almost like he was being choked. And the room went so cold. And, you know, I pulled this investigator up, dragged him outside. You know, he struggled to catch his breath for a few moments, but when he did sort of come to, we sort of looked at each other and thought, we can't go on like this, you know, because over the next few weeks, we were just having constant nightmares, you know, seeing things, and it was horrendous. And it got to the point where we didn't want to be here anymore. You know, we were contemplating taking our own lives because we just simply could not handle this entity anymore. And in the end, we had to draft in a priest and a medium to put a stop to it. And even then, that was a struggle. They really struggled to lay this to rest. And, you know, what we felt was pure evil. It was something like, I've encountered demonic entities before, but this went way beyond that, way, way beyond. And I don't think I would ever investigate him again, because yes, he was human once, but what he became after his death was something completely different. It was just awful, and I just would never ever go back into that sort of case again. I just couldn't. That is the one thing that scares me.
I can't say I blame you for not wanting to go back and try to redo that type of investigation. No. I wouldn't want to.
I mean, over the years, we've warned people off investigating him because we don't want them to go through what we did. And, you know, over the years, people have said, well, it can't be that bad, nothing will happen. Well, okay, it might not happen to you, but if it does, you know, we're going to be responsible for that.
Sure.
Because we've warned you. And I just wouldn't want that on my conscience. You know, it went beyond demonic, and I don't think that I could ever go back in that place again. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, you know,
I don't blame you at all.
There's that saying that goes around that, you know, I wouldn't want to wish it upon my worst enemy. And I feel like this is definitely one of those situations where no matter how much you hate a person or how much you dislike them, you still wouldn't even want to end up putting them through the horrors that you ended up going through. So for something to be
Not
to that extent,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine the horrors of it. So basically, based off your personal experiences, it's a stern warning to whoever may be listening to this. I mean, like, sure, you can Google them, Google Aleister Crowley and research him and whatnot, but do not even try to conduct a physical investigation of your own there. Otherwise, you're just
I wouldn't
completely
even
asking for
recommend
trouble.
Googling.
I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't even try and get your interest into that point.
Honestly, like, just forget the name.
Yeah.
It's not worth
yeah.
the headache, the personal hell that you will endure if you do it.
I mean, even today,
So
he still has his own occultists worshipping
Yeah.
him, which that's scary. That really is beyond belief. But it still happens.
Yeah.
Mhm. So obviously, because of something like that, you end up taking you take pride and every measure in the book to make sure that your investigators, whether they're part of your Ghost Bastards case or team or the Parachills team, your safety for your crew members has become an utmost importance. And I'm guessing because of that incident of not knowing how bad things can get, that's really pretty much been the forefront as to why you want to end up keeping your investigators safe. So, which makes me ask, when it comes to because me and Ashley kind of know the answer to this, but when it comes to Parachills and the investigations that you take on and what cases you send your investigators out to, where do you draw the line in saying no, we cannot? We cannot risk this because the case would be too dangerous.
I mean, all cases are different, and I think with every case, there's always a risk factor because you could get as much research done on a location or the resident spirit or whatever as you can, but I think until you get there, until you actually physically go out on a case, it's hard to say before then what the actual risk factors are. Obviously, locations, yes, we do our risk factors there. Is the building old? Is there a danger that maybe the floorboards could collapse through or the roof maybe? So, that side of things is looked into. But as for what we're going out to investigate, it's still hard to be 100% sure because you just never know what you're going to encounter.
Right.
I mean, we could say, right, we're going to investigate reports of a spirit of a child. But we know in the back of our minds that could actually be a demonic entity because
My favorite.
it is widely known that they do mimic children to lure people in and feed off their energy.
Yeah, it's because children are seen as innocent, so it's very easy for demons to come in, be like, oh, hey, I'm this person's kid. Hi, welcome me into your home and your lives.
Yeah.
Like, nothing bad will happen until, oh, wait, you like this cat? Let me just throw it against the wall.
Yeah, exactly. It's a catch-22. I mean, we do all we can with safety precautions. And, we do have a policy in place, which is if you are out on an investigation and you do happen to encounter a demonic entity, we cease investigation. We leave the area immediately and seek advice normally from a priest
Yeah.
before we go back. Again, it's a safety measure. I'm not saying all demonic entities are out to hurt you, but there is a majority which can latch onto you. They can cause you harm. So we kind of, we can only do so much. There's so many safety precautions.
Yeah.
And obviously, you ended up saying once you're out there in the field, you could do all your research and whatnot on a location all you want. It's again, you don't know exactly what you're getting into until the actual physical investigation starts, and you need to know where you end up drawing the line. And in my opinion, that's where investigative training ends up coming in. So when it comes to people who want to join Parachills, when it comes to people who want to be a part of the team, you do offer training for any newcomers. So what exactly does that training end up entailing?
Well, first and foremost, we have to make sure that they are clued up on different aspects of paranormal, from what different equipment there is and used by investigators, to permissions to go to locations, to the different types of entities, and we make sure that they kind of clue themselves up on this information first, because they do need some form of knowledge going forward. But the best form of training is actually out there in the field,
Right.
Which obviously at the moment we can't do, because
Sadly.
of the pandemic, sadly. But we can still conduct the research side of things. It doesn't stop us from even completing cases, because some may not even require a physical investigation. If there's enough evidence and information already in front of us, then we won't need to go out there. But the training is there. It's a part of what we do. And we do welcome newbies. They're very welcome to come on board. We've got all the information, we've got the resources that they can read through and clue themselves up on. Even down to the equipment, it fully explains what it does and how to work it. So we kind of just want to train the next generation, as it were.
Sure.
Okay.
That makes sense. You mentioned... go on, Ashley.
Thank you. Getting on a little bit of a brighter note, if you could go to any country in the world or countries for investigations, where would it be?
You're wanting him to say Canada because you're leading the Canadian team, aren't you?
No, I'm actually curious on where he wants to go. Yes, Canada has a lot of haunted places. But anywhere in the world is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have got a few. Now, I can tell you, the United States is not one of them.
Suck it.
Simply because there's so many investigators out there, and they've covered the same place 50 times over, and it's it does kind of put me off there.
Sure.
So I would have to say I would love to do Italy.
Yeah.
For sure. I would love to do Spain. I would definitely do Jamaica, simply because of the culture there.
It's amazing down there.
Yeah. I guess Canada would have to go on the list, mainly because of the cryptids there, which do interest me. So I am kind of curious. I guess what the top of my list would have to be sort of the kind of like the Middle East.
Okay.
Because of their elements of the paranormal there is they're kind of different to the rest of the world, you know. They have the jinn,
Right.
Yeah.
for instance, which again it's a lot of people associate the jinn with a demonic entity. Well, it's not. It's its own entity. We just don't understand it. There hasn't been much research into it, and I think until a study is done of them, it's going to remain as an entity that we just don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you ended up bringing up that you ended up going out there for the gin case. Gladly, thanks to you, I've been put on a gin case and try to do as much research as I can on it. And you're right, it was actually quite
that's already
enlightening knowing that the word gin kind of feeds off the word genie. It can either be good, it can either be bad, but at the same time, it can be powerful.
Yeah.
And
I did a bunch of research for you on this, and everything I found was just incredible. I love the fact that they live in like their own little community. They shapeshift. Their preferred shape is a snake. They get married and then they die.
It's bizarre.
I love all of that.
The jinn needs a lot more study. We have to understand it. Because as you say, we can't say that it's bad or good. It's its own thing. And I think we need to kind of give it our time, give it our study, so that we can finally understand it. And I think the only way to do that is to go out there and try to work with it, try to understand why it does what it does, and possibly why it is so powerful.
It's a big undertaking. It's a mysterious entity. But you know what? The great thing is that's like a sneak peek of the cases that we end up working on here with Parachills. They're not all going to be easy. They're not all going to be done in 1 week's time. But they're super interesting. They're super engaging, and we can end up making a difference in terms of making groundbreaking discoveries, or as you alluded earlier, and bringing closure to families, helping communities, helping businesses. It's something really special that we got going on here with Parachills. I do want to end up making a quick plug involving Parachills. We're about 2 weeks remaining of a fundraiser that we actually got going on. So, Chris, if you wanted to explain a little bit as to what the little fundraiser raffle competition is that you got going on right now.
So the contest is actually helping to raise money for our missing persons department, and the tickets are priced at $5. And you can win yourself a nice little merch bundle. So there'll be 3 items of merchandise, and also thrown in a brand new K2 meter.
Beautiful.
Contest.
Yeah,
And it's going to a
something
good
different.
cause as well.
Yes, it's going to a very good cause. It will go to, helping families cope with the trauma of a missing relative. So it is really helping one of the most fantastic causes out there, because families do need support, and unfortunately there's not enough support out there. But we are now that support. We are there, and we can and we will make a difference.
And it's something that I'm sure the public will be paying very close attention to and really see what we got going on here. So
Yeah.
to basically encourage people to not only pay attention to what we're doing, but to join Parachills, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Chris, to close out this interview. You mentioned earlier that you have a wrestling background. People who paid attention to wrestling knows that part of a match is the storytelling that goes behind it, which is what we call promos.
Yes.
And basically what promos are a way to convince people to see your side, to see you are the good guy, or that you are the bad guy, or you have something to get your point across to with your audience and your opponent. So I am putting you on the spot here, Chris. I want you to cut a wrestling promo on why people should join Parachills and why people should start paying a close attention to what we're doing.
Ooh,
You have
really
the floor, my good sir.
You really
Yeah,
threw him
that-
under the bus on this one.
We did. That's some payback there. It's
That
been
just
a
means
long
when you
time.
finally do move to Canada, we just have to prank him 10 times harder.
that's
Yes, we already have a plan.
Oh, that is definitely on the cards there. No, it has
Brandon,
been
this
some
is something
time.
we've talked about before,
Yes.
too.
Oh, it is.
You're going to
It
be
is.
fucked, my friend.
We have so many plans for you. It's you will literally be in
You're
the
gonna hate us.
shaking. You are going to.
You're gonna hate us.
Be haters.
I can't wait to hate you all.
And I'll make sure we get them all on camera so I can send them to your girlfriend.
Oh no.
Wow. Yes.
I know, I'm an
Alrighty.
evil little fucker, but
Yeah, you are. But Chris, you have the hot mic. You go at it.
I go at it. You want a promo of why people should join.
And why we should pay attention to Parachills from here on out.
Okay. Well, I'm going to cut this promo as best as I can. Okay, it has been some years since I cut a promo like this.
ooh, let's
It was-
hear it.
If it was on the computer, I'd be shit hot, but not. You put me on the spot, so. Okay, I've got the mic. So why do people need to join us? Well, they don't have to. So my first thing is watch us, see what we do, see what we investigate, see how many people we help, see all the praise coming in, see this tiny empire grow as big as it can absolutely get. Because the only way that people will join us is if they open their mind. So open your mind. Look through that third eye. See beyond what normal people can see. And if you're willing and you're able, then come on board. We want you. But if you just want to spend your time sitting in the hot seat watching, that's fine too. Watch us work. Watch us work our magic. Because that is exactly what we are. Magic. And the paranormal world has never seen anything like us before. So if you want in, come on board. If you want out, that's fine too. But we're not going anywhere because we're one, we're the only, and we are Parachills.
I have to applaud you on that for doing that on the spot. That was very well done.
I am going to have to agree with Ashley though. You are a complete fucker for putting me on the spot. Roll all of that off the tongue. So,
don't worry, you'll have time to strangle him a little bit when you move here.
oh, that, he has definitely booked a pin or two into his backside there.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? For being put on the spot, that was a very good shoot promo.
It was, and I think before you close this out, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go. Go ahead.
I have to ask.
Yes.
Okay. How is E.T. and where is he now?
E.T. is he is actually still sitting in the basket of the bicycle that I actually ended up giving to somebody. I'm sure they're sitting at some kind of yard sale right now. I'm sure they're sitting in the middle of a garage sale, not being purchased. So that little that's what that little fucker gets for probing my anus. We'll go there. Okay.
Got him. I knew it, and I didn't even have to say that word.
Nope. Not at all.
No, but I am
Brandon.
But I am smart enough to know where you were going with this.
I didn't even know where he was going with it.
Chris, you know what?
Getting even.
You know what? We, you know what, man? You know, even though you and everybody else, as I mentioned on the last podcast, you know, I do put up with a lot of your bullshit when it comes to stuff like this.
You do, yeah.
But you know what?
You take it in all good spirit, which is amazing.
Yeah,
I know what it's.
If you're on the team, like I said, have an open mind. It does. You can have a laugh. We're one big family at the end of the day. If you don't have a sense of humor, then we're probably the wrong people for you. But if you've got a sense of humor and you've got an interest, then you come on board.
Yep. Go to the website and apply.
Easy as that.
Easy as that.
That's as simple as that.
Chris, we love you, man. And again, you know, we've said it before. We're quite humbled and mind blown for the opportunity you've given both myself and Ashley, and the roles that we've been getting with the Parachills organization. So, along with the help of Brian Laverty, we just want to end up saying, you know, thank you so much for you know, letting us be a part of this this amazing organization. It's despite the bumps in the roads that we've gone through to get to this point, it really has been a good journey, and it's been one hell of an honor. So thank you so much, man.
I don't think I would have it any other way. You know, you two have become lifelong friends. You know, we've gone beyond that investigator stage, I think. Oh, yeah. And we all kind of know each other on a more personal level now, which is fantastic. You know, and I guess one thing people don't know is that I rarely make any appearances on the front line, like going onto a podcast. This is actually my first ever podcast.
Wow!
We broke your podcast virginity.
You did. You broke my virginity. You popped my podcast cherry there. So, Well done. Well done. You got me on the front line and you got me talking.
Yes.
Something which I never do because I'm always in the background, but it's nice. It's actually been really good to step out of the comfort zone.
No, and we appreciate it, man. And again, thank you so much for finding the time to do this. It's been a blast. It's been awesome.
It has definitely.
All right, man. We're gonna let you go. I know you got a little bit more work to end up doing today, so we don't want to end up keeping you. So you try and enjoy the rest of your day, my man.
Okay, and you both. And
Thank you.
I will speak to you very soon. Thank you for having me. And
Pleasure.
all the listeners, come and join us. Come on, let's go. Join us now.
What are you waiting for? Do it! All right. Love you, buddy. We'll talk later.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
So there we go. We popped Chris's podcast cherry.
Yeah, I'm proud.
Oh, that was a good line.
It's not every day you get to pop a podcast cherry.
Oh, Chris, thank you for that soundbite. We really, that's gonna live in infamy. That is almost as good as the "I'm just sorry for Brandon" line you ended up making in the first episode.
Yeah.
That's almost just as good. But yeah, it was a great interview. Ended up learning a lot. What was the one thing you ended up taking away from that?
For one, there's something else out there called a popper. And you sniff it, you don't smoke it.
Yep.
And two, the ghost bastards.
It was such a good name.
I love it.
Good game. The one thing that I ended up, the two things I ended up taking away from it was,
It's gonna be the wrestling, isn't it?
I have to say, again, props. It's going to be the promo he ended up cutting.
I knew it.
To encourage people to end up enjoying Parrot shows. I loved it. And the fact that that was all off the top, it was unscripted. And as I referenced earlier in the interview, I said it was a shoot promo. That's basically a wrestling term for an unscripted event.
You put him on the fucking spot, dude.
Nailed it. Now, of course, that was followed up with a nice question about where ET is, and I'm surprised you didn't know. I'm surprised you didn't know where that was going when he ended up saying, "So I have a question to ask you, Brandon."
Yeah, no, I had no idea where he was going with it.
I knew where he was going immediately. So at that point, I just said, "Fuck it. All right, sure, go ahead, ask away."
Yeah, no.
And if you hear when he ended up saying, when he was kind of building up to it, you hear me laughing.
I didn't even hear you
laughing.
laughing.
Yeah, I was laughing before he actually ended up asking because I knew what was coming.
And I wasn't even high for this, and I did not hear you laughing.
Well, next time listen with earphones.
I was using headphones.
Okay. What's the volume off?
No, I'm just deaf. That's it. I'm taking after my mom. I need my hearing aids. I'm deaf.
Oh, man.
Which is probably true. I know I need glasses again. So it's not unlikely that now I need hearing aids too.
Ashley's falling apart, ladies and gentlemen.
I have arthritis.
She's losing her.
I have tendonitis in my wrist. I have tennis elbow. What else do you want to throw my way?
Well, literally, when somebody ends up saying, "Oh my God, you've lost your mind," and somebody ends up responding saying, "Oh, I've lost it a long time ago," you could say the same thing to Ashley. "I've lost my senses." Well, I've lost 2 of them already. I can't see and I can't hear, so...
You little prick.
One of the other things that I'm taking away from the episode is I heard the story in general before, but I never actually heard the details of his
his run-in with the Aleister Crowley case.
Yeah, he gave me a warning when we first came aboard of not to mess with it. So I never actually heard the full story. So it was actually really cool to hear that full story and know some details not a lot of other people know.
No, it's interesting that they got the recording of him trying to summon the devil, I believe it was, on the CD, and they took it out of the CD player, put it in the case, and then they
started
continued playing. That's to me, it's one of those things that when you watch the beginning of Demon House with Zach Bagans, it ends up saying, entities can affect electronics or come through electronics or whatnot. I think that was a prime example right there. Once you had his voice on a device already in that system, they put it in, they took it out, whatever was on there manipulated the entire system, and it's like memory almost. It's like imprinted into that, and that's probably why it started playing again. That was just creepy, hearing that.
I know, I had the chills and goosebumps. Oh.
And that doesn't happen often with you.
No, it doesn't.
No, and to have it almost drive themselves to almost being suicidal because they couldn't deal with it anymore. Yeah. It was just tormenting them everywhere they went. His buddy was turning blue because he was choking, or looked like he was choking. Absolutely ridiculous. That was a very interesting story to hear. And
yeah, it definitely was.
And like I said, I never heard the story before. I just heard the general tidbits in that one mass Zoom meeting we were all in for Parachills. Just never heard the full story, so that was really interesting. And by the way, should have ended up mentioning or have him mention it on the air. But if you want to end up checking out any information on Parachills, just go to parachills.com. All the information's on there about our investigations. But also, we now have a second website called Parathrill.
Sister store.
A sister site.
Yep.
Not a sister store, but a sister site.
Yes. That's what I meant.
I knew what you meant. I just like correcting you because I kind of feel like I want to be right every once in a while.
Or because you're an asshole.
That too. So parathrills.com. So that's PARATHRILLS.com. It's basically where you can end up finding any contests we are having. Our merch store is up on that website. Is that where they can join the team, or is that still on the main one?
No, that's still on the main page.
Okay.
That's still on Parachill's website.
Yeah, so either way, go check out both. Both from the merch store and both to see what's going on with the investigations we're doing. We also ended up talking about that raffle drop we're going through. Like he ended up saying, we've got 3 items of merchandise you can end up winning, plus a brand spanking new K2 meter up for grabs. $5 a ticket for a raffle. It ends up ending on January 31st. So that's fun and that's interesting. Hopefully you guys can contribute to that and win yourself some swag.
And also,
so that's on Parachill.
Shut up.
I said go on. I didn't say shut up.
No, I said shut up.
Okay.
Also, go check out all the merch designs, including my personal favorite, as you know, the Canadian Badass. And go check out
the Canadian Badass.
I've been pro t-shirts. Making fun of Brandon.
We're here with Brandon t-shirts. That is on Spreadshirt. If you want to go to the site directly, it's spreadshirt.uk, I believe. We're going to have a couple other forms of it made available for Canadian and U.S. teams. There's a link.
There's also the link for it.
Yes.
There's also a link for it on the Parathrills website that you can go there directly.
Yeah, so go check out both sites.
It's a lot easier that way.
Absolutely. Go check out both sites. And also check them out on Twitter at
Parachills TM. TM as in trademark. That's what the TM's there for. Parachills TM on Twitter. That's where you're going to end up finding all the information and some blogs. Some blog postings are also going to be
I think
up
they
on
know what TM stands for.
You never know.
Also, I'm going to say this. If you guys buy our merch, no matter what line of merch you buy, take a photo of us, tag it with #Parachills. We'd love to see you in anything that you buy.
I actually ended up purchasing one of our sweater jackets earlier last week, and it came in pretty quickly. So that's the cool thing about it too. Once you end up ordering, it comes into you less than a week. So that's awesome. I'll post
and it looks really good.
Yeah, it really does. I'll post a picture online so that people can end up seeing the Ontario's Most Haunted sweater jacket. But of course, it's not just us. There's Parachills merch. There's Rev Critters merch. There's Huntophobia, Lex Paranormal merch,
Lex Paranormal, 13 Spirits, Ghost Rangers,
everything.
All of the groups with Parachills, they're there.
Everything's there for you to check out. Everything's there for you to purchase. Say that 5 times fast. And also,
no thanks.
and just, at the end of the day, the purchases help support Parachills. It helps support your favorite groups. So go ahead and show the support by representing them in public, wearing their stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything you would like to add on to the episode before we close out?
You're a twat.
Okay, and my turn. No, I don't. No, I don't. What did you do?
I just ripped some hair out of my head.
Like I said, ladies and gentlemen,
not on purpose. I put my head back on the chair, and I have like a vest on the chair, and it has the metal spikes in it that were custom done. So my hair got stuck, and when I went to lean forward, it pulled.
Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, Ashley is falling apart.
You shut the fuck up.
I think we should probably close this up before I end up getting abused badly. If you guys want to end up checking out our Twitter pages, you can end up doing so. official_OMH. If you want to end up checking out Ashley up on Twitter, it is OMH_Ashley. Myself is OMH_Brandon. Give us a follow, tweet us, and also, as always, we are looking for listener stories for a upcoming episode. So if you guys have any stories of your paranormal events that have taken place in your life, whether it was just a random run-in or you went out investigating and you ended up catching something that sticks with you still to this day, we would love to end up hearing it. How would you send it to us? Very simple. You go to officialomhpodcast@gmail.com and you can either type it up or you can end up recording it on your mobile device, record an audio if you're telling your story, upload it into the email, and we can end up using that as well. 2 different ways of doing it. Very easy. Don't be shy. We would love to end up hearing your stories. As well, if you want to end up helping this show grow, leave a review out on iTunes or Apple Podcasts and end up leaving a review on Ontario's Most Haunted Podcast. Tell the world what you end up thinking. Leave a good rating. Also, you can end up listening to us on Google Podcasts and Spotify. Give us a listen. Share the podcast. Get the word out. Let everybody know where Ontario's Most Haunted Podcast is. On behalf of Ashley, my name is Brandon, and we will see you again next week on Ontario's Most Haunted Podcast. Stay safe and stay spooky. Haunted!
Okay, guys. That was episode 5. So, with that being said, I would like to thank Brandon and Ashley for letting me play their podcast on my channel. It helps them get out. If you want the links, they are like 2 to 3 videos back. I got their links for Spotify, Apple, and Google all in the description. So hopefully soon we can get them up here so I can question them as well.
And I would like to say I feel bad for Brandon, but I love Ashley. She's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
unfortunately, the one they did on Christmas, I'm sorry, Brandon. I gotta go with Ashley on Die Hard. It's a Christmas show. It happens during a Christmas party, just like Lethal Weapon
And Gremlins.
and Gremlins.
Can't forget Gremlins.
Right. Don't forget about Krampus, too. But with that being said, guys, we'll talk to you later. Peace.